The shuttle landed smoothly on Station Harmony 7 and stepped out with a small bag over her shoulder. She was 17 years old, with black hair tied back simply and dark eyes that watched everything carefully. Around her, alien students of all shapes and sizes moved through the arrival hall. Some had scales. Some had too many arms. Some floated instead of walking. None of them looked human. Because she was the only human here. A tall creature with blue skin and 4 eyes approached her. His name tag said he was a student guide named. "You are the Earth transfer?" asked. His voice was polite, but his 4 eyes looked at her like she was a strange insect. "Yes," said I am. "Follow me. I will take you to your room and explain the rules." Followed him through long white corridors. Other students stopped to stare at her. She heard whispers in languages she did not understand, but she could guess their meaning from the way they pointed and laughed quietly. "Your planet," said as they walked, "is classified as a Category 9. This is the most dangerous classification. Most species do not survive on such worlds. You are the first human to attend this academy." "I know," said. "Many students here have never seen a human before. They may be curious." Understood what he really meant. Curious was a kind word for what she would face. Her room was small but clean. There were 2 beds, 2 desks, and a window that showed the stars outside. On one bed sat a small creature that looked like a frog mixed with a fish. She had big golden eyes and pale green skin that seemed to glow slightly. "This is Lyra," said. "She is your roommate. Lyra, this is the human." Lyra made a small sound of fear and pressed herself against the wall. "I will leave you to settle in," said, and he left quickly. Put her bag on the empty bed. She looked at Lyra, who was still trembling. "I will not hurt you," said gently. "I promise." Lyra's golden eyes blinked. They say humans eat other creatures, that your world has monsters everywhere, that even your plants can kill." "Some of that is true," admitted, "but I do not eat people, and I am not a monster." Lyra relaxed a little bit. "I am sorry, I have never met a human before. I only heard stories." "What kind of stories?" "Scary ones." Almost smiled. "On Earth, we tell scary stories about the dark and about creatures with sharp teeth. I think every species has scary stories." Lyra thought about this. Slowly she moved away from the wall. "Maybe you are right, I am Lyra. I come from a water world called Everything There Is Soft and Safe. When I learned my roommate was from I did not sleep for 2 nights. I am sorry I scared you without even meeting you." "It is not your fault, it is just, Earth sounds like a nightmare." Sat on her bed. "Earth is beautiful, yes, it is dangerous, but it is also full of mountains and oceans and forests. We have flowers that smell sweet and birds that sing in the morning. It is my home. I miss it." Something changed in Lyra's expression. She saw that was not a monster. She was just a girl far from home, alone among strangers. "I think," Lyra said carefully, "we can be friends if you want." "I would like that," said. The next day was orientation. All new students gathered in a large hall with seats arranged in a circle. Professor stood in the center. He was a species with 6 arms and skin that looked like stone. He spoke in a loud, clear voice. "Welcome to Galactic Academy. You come from many worlds, many cultures, many species. Here, you will learn together and grow together. Here, you are all equal." Notice that when Professor said equal, several students looked at her and whispered to each other. "This year we have a special student," Professor continued, "a human from Earth. For those who do not know, Earth is a Category 9. Gravity there is nearly twice our standard. The planet has extreme weather, dangerous animals, poisonous plants, and countless other hazards. Humans evolved to survive all of this. Please welcome." Everyone turned to look at her. Some looked curious, some looked afraid, some looked disgusted. In the front row sat a tall, proud alien with golden scales and cold eyes. His clothes were finer than everyone else's. 2 guards stood behind his seat. This was Prince of the Empire. Beside him sat a huge warrior named who looked at like she was dirt on his shoe. After orientation, walked to her first class. The corridors were crowded. She kept her head down and tried to find her way. Suddenly, a heavy hand slammed into her shoulder. She stumbled forward but did not fall. She turned around. Stood there towering over her. He was 3 times her size, with muscles like rocks under his golden scales. "So you are the famous," said loudly. Other students stopped to watch. "You do not look dangerous to me. You look small and weak." Said nothing. "On my world, we test new warriors by combat. Maybe I should test you." He pushed her shoulder again, harder this time. Took a breath. Her voice was calm and quiet. "Please do not do that again." Laughed. The students watching laughed too. Prince, standing nearby, smiled coldly. "Or what, little human, you will cry." Looked up at him. Her dark eyes were steady. "Just please do not do it again." Pushed past her, still laughing, and walked away with the prince. The crowd broke apart, still giggling and whispering. Lyra appeared at side. "Are you okay?" He is the prince's personal guard. He is very dangerous." "I am fine," said. "You should report him to the professors." "It would not help. People like him do not stop because of rules." "Then what will you do?" Started walking to class again. "I gave him a chance. That is all I can do." Lyra hurried after her, confused and worried. She did not understand what meant, but she felt something strange in the air, something that made her skin feel cold. She did not know it yet, but she had just witnessed something important. Had given her first warning. And on Earth, warnings were never given twice with words. Weeks passed at the academy. Went to her classes, did her work, and spoke very little. She was not unfriendly. She simply had no one to talk to except Lyra and one other student. His name was. He was a species made of living crystal. His body was smooth and blue like frozen water, and he moved with a soft chiming sound. What made him unusual was his name. Did not use names like humans did, but had chosen a human name for himself because he loved studying Earth. "Your planet fascinates me," told one day in the library. "The diversity of life, the harsh conditions, the way humans adapted to everything. I have read every book about Earth in this library." "Then you know more about my planet than most humans do," said. "I doubt that. Books cannot capture what it feels like to live there. What is it like? To wake up every day on a world that is trying to kill you?" Thought about the question. You do not think about it, it is just normal. You learn to watch where you step. You learn which animals to avoid. You learn to read the sky for storms. It becomes like breathing. You do not notice it. His crystal body flickered with light. This was how showed emotion. Amazing, truly amazing. Almost smiled. It was nice to have someone interested in her home instead of afraid of it. But not everyone was like. The bullying continued. It was never big enough to report, but it was constant. Every day something happened. One morning, opened her locker and found all her books covered in sticky slime. Another day, someone tripped her in the cafeteria and her food spilled everywhere. The students laughed while she cleaned it up alone. Prince never touched her himself. He was too smart for that. But he watched everything with a small smile and was always nearby, making sure knew she was not welcome. "Why do they hate you so much?" Lyra asked one night in their room. "You have done nothing to them." "They do not hate me," said. "They are afraid of me. And when people are afraid of something they do not understand, they try to make it seem small and weak. It makes them feel safe." "That is stupid." "Yes, but it is also very common. Humans do it too." Lyra's glow dimmed with sadness. "I wish I could help you." "You already helped me. You are my friend, that is enough." One day, during physical training, the class went to the zero-gravity gymnasium. It was a huge room where gravity could be turned off, and students could float and move in 3 dimensions. Professor explained that they would practice movement and coordination. Had trained in zero gravity before coming to the academy. Earth had programs to prepare humans for space. She moved smoothly and easily, pushing off walls and spinning through the air. Some students struggled. Their home worlds had different gravity and floating made them sick or confused, but looked natural, almost graceful. This made angry. When the class ended and students were leaving, grabbed's arm and pulled her to the side of the room. Other students stopped to watch. Professor had already left. "You think you are impressive," growled. His grip was very tight. On most species it would have broken bones, felt pain, but her face showed nothing. "You are just a creature from a planet. Your people are primitive. You do not belong here." Prince stood with the watching crowd. His cold eyes showed amusement. Looked its hand on her arm, then she looked up at his face. "I am warning you once," she said. Her voice was steady and calm. "On my world, we learn patience because we must. We learn to wait, to watch, to give chances. But we also learn what comes after patience ends." Squeezed harder. "What comes after, little human?" Did not blink. There will be no words for the second warning. She looked at the crowd, at Prince smirking, at Lyra trembling in the back, at watching with his crystal body flickering nervously. "This is my first and only warning. Remember it." Laughed and threw her arm away. "Pathetic, you cannot even fight back, all you have is words." He walked away. The crowd laughed and followed him. Prince gave one last look of contempt before leaving. Lyra rushed aside. "Are you hurt, your arm?" Looked at her arm. There were marks where had grabbed her, dark bruises already forming. "I am fine." "What did you mean about the second warning?" "I meant what I said." "But what can you do? Is twice your size. He is trained as a warrior. He could kill you with one hand." Was quiet for a moment, then she said something strange. "On Earth, we have many dangerous animals. Lions, tigers, bears. They are big and strong and have sharp claws and teeth. But do you know what the most dangerous animal on Earth is?" Lyra shook her head. "Humans." Lyra did not understand. Looked small and soft. She had no claws, no scales, no armor. How could humans be more dangerous than beasts with fangs? That night Lyra could not sleep. She kept thinking about what it said. She looked over its bed. The human girl was sleeping peacefully, her breathing slow and even. She looked so harmless, so gentle. But Lyra remembered's eyes when she gave her warning. There was something in those eyes, something very old and very patient, something that had survived millions of years on a world that never stopped trying to kill it. Lyra realized something that the other students did not understand. Was not being dramatic. She was not making empty threats. She was being honest. And that was terrifying. The next weeks were tense. Continued his harassment, but something had changed. Stopped reacting. She stopped looking at him. She stopped acknowledging him at all. This made angrier. He wanted her to be afraid. He wanted her to cry or beg or run away, but she gave him nothing. "The human is strange," one student whispered to another. "She acts like does not exist." "Maybe she is broken," another said. "Maybe humans are too stupid to feel fear." Prince heard these whispers. He did not like them. He wanted to be publicly humiliated. He wanted everyone to see that humans were nothing special. He began to plan something bigger. Something that would break her for good. And with her quiet patience and her dark, steady eyes, waited. She did not know what was coming, but she knew something would come. On Earth, predators always attacked eventually. And prey that survived learned to be ready. The Galactic Academy held a cultural exhibition every year. Students from every world presented their home planets to the entire school. It was a celebration of diversity, a chance to share and learn. Worked on her presentation for weeks. She collected pictures of Earth, mountains with snow on top, oceans that stretched forever, forests full of green trees, cities with lights that glowed at night. She recorded sounds too, birds singing, rain falling, wind blowing through grass. She wanted to show everyone that Earth was not just a scary, it was beautiful, it was home. "Your presentation looks wonderful," Lyra said, watching practice. "They will love it." "I hope so," said. "I want them to understand." Helped her with the technology. His crystal fingers moved easily over the holographic controls. "The visual quality is excellent. This will be the best presentation at the exhibition." For the first time in months, felt hopeful. Maybe this would change things. Maybe if they saw the beauty of Earth, they would stop being afraid. She did not know that Prince had other plans. The day of the exhibition arrived. The great auditorium was full. Hundreds of students sat in curved rows that rose up toward the ceiling. Teachers and important guests sat in special seats at the front. Floating cameras recorded everything for students who could not attend. Waited backstage with the other presenters. Her heart beat fast, but she kept her breathing slow and steady. She had spoken in front of people before. She could do this. "Next, we have a very special presentation," the announcer said. "For the first time in our academy's history, a human will share her world with us. Please welcome from Earth." Walked onto the stage. The lights were bright. She could not see individual faces, just a sea of eyes watching her. She pressed the button to start her presentation. The holographic display flickered. Then it showed something wrong. Instead of beautiful mountains and oceans, the screen showed twisted images. Humans were drawn as ugly monsters with blood on their hands. They were shown killing animals, burning forests, making war. The pictures were crude and cruel, designed to make humans look like savage beasts. Words appeared on the screen. "Humans, the galaxy's mistake." The auditorium exploded with laughter. Stood frozen. She looked at the screen, at the horrible images, at everything she had worked on destroyed and replaced with hate. In the front row was laughing loudest. Prince sat beside him with a satisfied smile. The laughter went on and on. Students pointed at. Some made animal sounds. Some threw small objects at the stage. His hands dropped to her sides. Her face went very still. The hope that had been building in her chest turned cold. She had given them a chance. She had tried to share something beautiful, and they had answered with cruelty. Something shifted behind her eyes. Stepped off the stage. She did not run, she walked, slowly, calmly, directly toward. The laughter began to die. Students noticed something strange, the way she moved. It was different from before. There was no hesitation, no uncertainty. Each step was smooth and precise, like a machine, like a predator. Some students felt a strange feeling in their stomachs, a cold, old feeling, the feeling their ancestors had felt when something dangerous was coming. Saw her approaching. He stood up, still grinning. He was twice her height and 5 times her weight. He had trained in combat since he was young. He was not afraid of a small human girl. "What is wrong, little creature?" he said loudly. "Did you not like our improvement to your presentation?" Did not answer, she kept walking. His grin faltered slightly. Something was wrong. She should be crying. She should be running away. Why was she coming toward him? "Stay back," he said, less confident now. "I am warning you." Did not stop. Raised his massive fist. "I said stay." She moved. No one saw exactly what happened. One moment was 3 meters away. The next moment was on the ground. His arm was twisted behind his back at a terrible angle. His face was pressed against the floor, knelt on his spine, holding him down with one hand. The auditorium went completely silent. Screamed. The sound was high and filled with pain and fear. He tried to move but held him easily. His massive muscles meant nothing. His warrior training meant nothing. He was helpless. Leaned close to his ear. Her whisper carried in the absolute silence. "I warned you." 3 simple words. Then she stood up and released him. Did not move. He lay on the floor, whimpering, cradling his broken arm. Looked at Prince. The prince's face had gone pale. His cold confidence was gone, replaced by something he had never felt before. Fear. Looked at the crowd. Hundreds of alien eyes stared at her in shock. "I gave you a chance," she said. Her voice was quiet but clear. "I asked nicely. I warned with words. You chose not to listen." She walked toward the exit. The crowd parted for her like water. No one touched her. No one spoke. At the door, she stopped and looked back one more time. Humans do not give third warnings. Then she was gone. The silence lasted for a long time. Then chaos erupted. Teachers rushed to help. Students shouted and cried. Prince was led away by his guards, his face still pale with shock. Lyra found in the crowd. They held onto each other, trembling. "What just happened?" Lyra whispered. His crystal body flickered with complex emotions. "I read about this. Human combat techniques. They use leverage and precision instead of strength. They can defeat enemies much larger than themselves." But she was so fast, I could not even see her move. Humans evolved as persistence hunters. They can run for days without stopping. They have incredible endurance and reflexes, but more than that, paused. They are adaptable, they learn, they improve. That is what makes them truly dangerous. Lyra looked at the door where had disappeared. "She never raised her voice," Lyra said softly. "She never threatened, she just did it, like it was nothing." To her it probably was nothing, said. On Earth she would be considered average, not special, just a normal human girl. Lyra felt cold all over. If was average, what would the exceptional humans be like? She did not want to find out. The academy was in chaos for days after the incident. Was taken to the medical center. His arm was broken in 3 places. The doctors said they had never seen such precise damage. Every break was exactly where it would cause maximum pain but no permanent harm. It was not random violence. It was controlled, calculated. Prince demanded action. He sent messages to his family, to the Academy Council, to anyone who would listen. He wanted expelled. He wanted her arrested. He even suggested execution under honor codes. "She attacked a member of my royal guard without cause," he declared in front of the council. "She is dangerous and must be removed." But then the council reviewed the security recordings. There were cameras everywhere in the academy. They had recorded everything. The slime in his locker, the trips in the cafeteria, the grabbing and pushing and insults. Months of harassment, all saved in perfect detail. They saw Grab's arm in the gymnasium. They saw him squeeze until her skin bruised. They heard her warning, calm and clear. They saw the cultural exhibition. They saw the sabotaged presentation. They heard the cruel laughter. They watched as hundreds of students mocked and humiliated a girl who had only wanted to share something beautiful. And they saw her response, controlled, minimal. She had stopped the moment, was no longer a threat. She had not hit him or kicked him. She had simply ended the situation in the fastest way possible. The council was silent for a long time. Professor looked very uncomfortable. He had been in charge of his class. He should have noticed the bullying. He should have stopped it, but he had done nothing. "The human acted in self-defense," one council member finally said, after months of documented harassment that was ignored by staff. Prince's face turned dark with anger. Self-defense, she attacked him. She responded to a hostile environment that we failed to address. If anything, we owe her an apology. The prince could not believe what he was hearing. His diplomatic immunity protected him from punishment, but it did not protect his reputation. The recordings were spreading across the galactic networks. Everyone was watching. And what they saw was not a savage human attacking an innocent student. They saw a bully getting exactly what he deserved. The response from across the galaxy was unexpected. Military analysts studied the footage frame by frame. They slowed it down to see exactly what had done. They calculated the speed, the force, the precision. They compared it to known human capabilities. Their reports were disturbing. Subject moved at speeds beyond our prediction models for human physiology, one report stated. However, further research indicates this is within normal human range. Our models were simply wrong. Another report focused on Earth's gravity. Earth gravity is 1.87 times galactic standard. This means every human from birth trains their muscles and bones under crushing force. When operating in standard gravity, they are significantly stronger than expected. We have underestimated them. The High Admiral, leader of one of the galaxy's largest military forces, released a public statement. We formally request that Earth be upgraded from classification to Apex Predator Origin World. Our previous assessments were dangerously inaccurate. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know more about humans. News programs discussed Earth constantly. Scientists published papers about human evolution. Philosophers debated what it meant for a species to survive. And everyone watched the video of a small, quiet girl defeating a warrior twice her size without breaking a sweat. While the galaxy talked, sat in her room. She had not left since the exhibition. She ate meals that Lyra brought her. She stared out the window at the stars. Lyra did not know what to say. She had seen a side of her friend that she never knew existed. She was not afraid. She knew would never hurt her, but she did not know how to help. Visited every day. He brought news from outside. Prince has been withdrawn from the academy, he reported. His family is embarrassed. They are trying to hide him from the public. And asked. His arm is healed, but he refuses to speak about what happened. The doctors say he has psychological trauma. He flinches whenever anyone mentions humans. Was quiet. Are you sorry, Lyra asked carefully, for what you did? Thought about the question. I am sorry that it happened. I am sorry that they pushed me until there was no other choice. But I am not sorry for defending myself. On Earth, you learn that sometimes talking does not work. Sometimes the only language people understand is action. But you could have killed him. Yes, I chose not to. Lyra felt a chill. It was not the violence that scared her. It was the control. Had done exactly what she intended, no more and no less. She could have killed easily. Breaking his arm was mercy. What happens now? Asked. I do not know, said. I suppose the council will decide if I can stay. The council met again 2 days later. The decision was quick. Was allowed to stay. The ruling cited prolonged harassment, failure of staff supervision, and appropriate defensive response. Professor was placed under investigation. Prince's family sent formal apologies to avoid further scandal. When returned to classes, everything was different. No one laughed at her. No one whispered insults. No one touched her or blocked her path. When she entered a room, conversation stopped. When she sat down, nearby students moved away, not with disgust but with respect, maybe fear. Teachers treated her differently too. They called on her carefully. They praised her work. They asked if she needed anything. It was strange. For months she had been invisible or hated. Now she was visible and everyone was polite. But did not want fear. She did not want people to bow to her or run from her. She just wanted to be left alone. One evening, Lyra found her sitting by the window again. You seem sad, Lyra said. I am thinking about home, replied. On Earth I was normal, I was not special. I had friends who treated me like anyone else. Here I am either a monster or a legend. Neither feels right. Lyra sat beside her. I do not think you are a monster, and I do not worship you like a legend. I think you are my friend who has been through something hard. Looked at her. For the first time in days she almost smiled. Thank you, Lyra. You do not need to thank me. Friends are honest with each other. That is what my people believe. Join them later. They sat together, three very different beings, watching the stars spin slowly outside the window. "The galaxy is scared of humans now," said. "They are rewriting their history books. They are changing their military strategies, all because of one girl at a school exhibition." "I did not want this," said. "I know, but maybe it is a good thing. Maybe now they will think twice before underestimating anyone. Maybe they will learn that size and strength are not everything." Hoped he was right. But she knew the galaxy was watching now, and she knew that this was only the beginning. Months passed. Life at the academy slowly returned to normal, but nothing was truly the same. Went to her classes. She studied hard. She spent time with Lyra and, from the outside, she looked like any other student, but everyone knew she was different. Everyone remembered what she had done. The bullying had stopped completely, not just but for everyone. Students who used to push others around became quiet. Students who used to mock the weak suddenly found other things to do. It was like the whole academy had taken a deep breath and decided to be better. Some people said it was because of the new rules. After the incident, the academy created strict policies against harassment. Teachers watched more carefully. Punishments were more serious. But Lyra knew the real reason. Everyone was afraid of what might happen if they pushed someone too far. If a small human girl could defeat a trained warrior, what else was possible? What other quiet students were hiding strength they had never shown? The message was clear: be kind or face consequences you cannot predict. One afternoon was walking through the gardens when she heard crying. She followed the sound and found a small creature hiding behind a tree. It was a species made of swirling gas held together by a thin membrane. This one was young, barely half size, and its gas was dark with distress. "What is wrong?" asked softly. The looked up with frightened eyes. "Please do not hurt me." "I will not hurt you, I promise. What happened?" Slowly the story came out. The young was named. Some older students had taken her belongings and scattered them across the garden. They had called her names and pushed her down. Then they had run away laughing. "They said I was too weak to do anything," whispered. "They said no one would help me because I am nobody." Felt something twist in her chest. She remembered being alone. She remembered being laughed at. She remembered thinking that no one would help her either. "Show me where they threw your things," she said. Together they searched the garden, helped gather her scattered belongings, data pads, personal items, a small toy from her home world. The older students had thrown everything into bushes and fountains. While they searched, other students noticed them. They saw the famous human helping a tiny pick up her things. They watched in confusion. They expected the to ignore such small problems. Why would someone so powerful care about a child's lost toys? When they finished, clutched her belongings tightly. "Thank you, but why did you help me? You do not know me." "I know what it feels like to be alone," said, "and I know that strength means nothing if you do not use it to help others. But everyone says you are dangerous." "I am dangerous to people who hurt others, to people who think they can bully the weak without consequences." Looked at with gentle eyes. "But I will never be dangerous to you, I promise." Word spread quickly. The girl had helped a bullied child. She had spent an hour searching through gardens for a stranger's belongings. More stories followed. A student was struggling with a heavy load, helped carry it. A younger student was lost, walked her to her class. A group was stuck on a difficult assignment, sat down and explained it patiently. She never asked for anything in return. She never bragged about helping. She just did it, quietly and without fuss. Before long, something strange happened. Students started coming to when they had problems. Not academic problems, but social ones. When someone was being mistreated, they told. When someone felt scared, they found. She became an unofficial protector of the academy's vulnerable. The small, the weak, the different, they all knew that if they were in trouble would help. And the bullies knew it too. They did not dare harm anyone under protection. The memory of lying broken on the floor was too fresh in their minds. One evening, asked why she did it, why she helped strangers who had once laughed at her. They were sitting in the observation deck, watching ships come and go from the station. "You owe them nothing," said. "They mocked you, they hurt you. Why do you protect them now?" Was quiet for a long moment, then she spoke, her voice soft. "On Earth we have a saying, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Violence answers violence forever until nothing is left. But you used violence against." "Yes, because words did not work, because I had no other choice. But violence was never my goal. It was my last option when everything else failed." She looked at the stars outside the window. Somewhere out there, impossibly far away, was Earth, her home, her beautiful, deadly, wonderful home. "Humans learned something important on our world," she continued. "We learned that survival is not about being the strongest or the fastest. It is about working together, protecting each other, building communities where everyone is safe. Even the weak. Especially the weak, because today's weak child might be tomorrow's doctor who saves your life, or the scientist who finds a cure, or the artist who creates something beautiful. You never know what people can become if you give them a chance." His crystal body glowed with soft colors. "That is a very kind philosophy. I did not expect it from a species." Almost smiled. "We had to become kind because our world was cruel. Cruelty met with cruelty would have destroyed us. So we learned compassion. We learned forgiveness. We learned to give warnings before we strike. And if the warning is ignored, then we strike once hard and hope they learn. I do not want to fight anyone. I never wanted to hurt, but he gave me no choice. Now he understands. And maybe because of what happened, he will treat others better. Maybe something good will come from something painful." The observation deck was quiet except for the soft hum of the station. "You are not what I expected," said finally. "When I read about humans, I thought you were all warriors, fighters, survivors. I did not expect kindness." "That is because the books focus on survival," said. "They talk about how we hunt and fight and endure, but they forget why we do those things. We survive so we can live. We fight so we can have peace. We endure so we can build something worth protecting." She stood up and looked at the stars one more time. "Strength is not about hurting people. It is about choosing not to." The second warning was silent because words were not needed anymore. "But I hope I never have to give another. I hope everyone understands now." In the halls of the academy, they understood. In the courts of alien empires, they understood. In the tactical rooms of 100 fleet commands, they understood. The quiet human girl had taught the galaxy a lesson that no one would forget. Never underestimate kindness. Never assume that gentle means weak. And never, ever give a human a reason for a second warning. Because by then, it would already be too late. Years later, historians would write about this time. They would call it the beginning of a new era in galactic relations. They would study actions and find meaning in every choice she made. But did not think about history. She did not care about being famous or feared. She only wanted to protect the people who could not protect themselves. She only wanted to build a universe where warnings were never needed at all. And slowly, one small act of kindness at a time, that was exactly what she did.